This morning, we celebrate World Hunger Sunday. What this means is that for the next several weeks until the first of the year, we will receive contributions to the ELCA World Hunger Program. You may have an opportunity to give online, and that link is at the offering site on this service's menu. Finally, please stay online and link on to the anthem at the end of the service. Today, we begin observing what has become a World Hunger Season at Epiphany. This time each year has become so important that it can be said to be a defining time for who we are as a congregation. There is little doubt that this year's experience of our World Hunger Appeal may be both negatively and positively affected by these troubling times. Negatively, in that we will be limited as to our personal witnessing of the angels being placed on our angel tree and our decreased weekly physical attendance. On the other hand, with the internet service and the potential through online giving, perhaps more people will participate. One thing is for certain: the need is overwhelmingly present. 2020 has been a challenging time around the world and within our nation. It seems like we are experiencing relentless attacks, both of man's making and the natural order, causing pain and suffering to almost everybody throughout every nation. This year, more than ever, we are experiencing even greater hardships within our own nation. A spreading pandemic has not only caused sickness, some with lingering effects, and nearly 250,000 deaths in our country alone, but also economic hardships. Unprecedented amount of natural disasters, wildfires, tornadoes, hurricanes have left a path of unimaginable devastation. Complete towns have been leveled and tens of thousands have been left homeless. During 2019 in the United States, there were 34 million, including 10 million children living in poverty. That means families of 4 lived off of $25,000 or less per year. This left many not knowing if there would be a next meal, no less money for the basics and the necessities to live. Many have relied on availability of food pantries and soup kitchens. With the onslaught of COVID-19 during this year, 23 million people are unemployed and thousands of small businesses permanently closed or struggling to stay alive. Poverty and hunger are certainly increasing. With safety net programs expiring and the need for food pantries and soup kitchens will be stretched beyond their capacity to meet the need. Increasingly, many of our brothers and sisters in our own nation are or may soon be facing the need for basics in living: food, clothing, and shelter. Worldwide, political turmoil, refugees, ongoing drought, extreme poverty, and hunger continue to bring suffering and ultimately death to millions each year. Add to this the deadly spread of the pandemic, the problem of human suffering becomes even greater. Last year, over 800 million people worldwide experienced extreme poverty. This means that they earn less than $1.90 per day. Hunger and poverty-related causes led to the death of a child 5 years or younger nearly every 10 seconds. These tragic statistics will only grow with the pandemic, since those living in undeveloped countries will not have access to adequate health care. The areas of the world experiencing the extremes of poverty and hunger are first in Asian and Pacific nations, with 520 million people in poverty. Next is Sub-Saharan Africa, with over 240 million in poverty. Finally, there are the millions in Latin America and the Caribbean nations. All too many have said that little can be done to meet the needs of those suffering and dying from hunger. That simply is not true. First, the world produces more than enough food to feed the entire world, erasing suffering and hunger. Consider this: 1.3 trillion tons of food is wasted every year. There is enough food, but the lack of will, the greed and needless waste, or political reasons, food has been kept from millions who are in need. If eradicating hunger becomes a priority in the world, then hunger could be eradicated. Second, even with that in mind, since 1979 until 2015, hunger and the undernourished have decreased by 50%. But tragically, although since then, hunger and undernourishment have been on a gradual increase. One of the reasons is that economically, the disparity between the haves and the have-nots has been increasing. The challenge has become greater since the pandemic presents new obstacles to overcome. The resulting issue of poverty and hunger will definitely be an even greater problem in the coming year. But if the will is there, inroads can be made into decreasing those who suffer and die from hunger. It has been proven in the past that this can happen, even during difficult times. With more experience over the past years, world hunger programs have become increasingly effective. Much of this is due to working partnerships among like-motivated organizations. This is most certainly true with the ELCA's World Hunger Program, which has partnered with other worldwide organizations in order to support their areas of expertise to be more effective in meeting the problems of poverty and hunger. By doing this, it alleviates duplicity of services, which leads to more effective utilizations of funds and skills. Therefore, the World Hunger Appeal has partnership with the Lutheran World Relief, the Lutheran World Federation, domestic Lutheran organizations and churches, Bread for the World, Church World Services, the Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, and the Good Gifts Program. With this approach, it allows 93% of all monies received to go towards programs directly affecting hunger and poverty issues. This means our contributions are able to reach hunger and poverty problems in 62 nations, including the United States. The goal of the hunger program is to not only meet the emergency needs of people, but to work towards alleviating the causes for future needs. This is accomplished through programs focused on self-sustaining solutions. The problems may at first seem impossible, but they are very basic to the health and welfare of all human beings. The challenge is one of commitment. Commitment to solve the need, even though the circumstances may vary as to the particular cause in each situation. For many of the underdeveloped countries, the challenges are so overwhelming that they have left people devastated with little internal assistance to answer their need. This is especially true with countries like Haiti and sub-Saharan Africa. The basic needs among many of these in poverty and hunger go well beyond emergency food assistance and call for educational programs, research capabilities, occupational farming and business development, sanitation and infrastructures and programs, clean water, and healthcare. When entering a community with a hunger problem with emergency action, there is a commitment to remain there until these basic needs are fulfilled. And there is the foundation for a self-sustaining life. Village by village and community by community then has hope for the future. This is where the partnerships make this effort possible. In the United States, the ECLA World Hunger Program gives guidance as well as financial assistance to Lutheran churches and organizations for programs to help those in need of food, shelter, and medical assistance. This has allowed the church to become active with food pantries, soup kitchens, health clinics, and educational programs within areas devastated from ongoing hunger and poverty, as well as to help during natural disasters. Today, all around us seems to be summed up in the prophet Amos' words, "Is not the day of the Lord darkness, not light, and gloom with no brightness in it?" We may take this attitude of doom and gloom and let it determine who we are and die to a life of hope. We even may participate in worshiping every week, but unless we take heed of Amos's words, "I hate your festivals and I take no delight in your solemn assemblies," but let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. This means that when we pursue justice for all of God's children, then our lives will be open and motivated to do all that we can to alleviate their pain and suffering. This is when we begin to understand what righteousness means. We may be living through tough and uncertain times, but we must never overlook those whose burden is even greater than ours. They need us to help them to live another day. They need not suffer and die from the lack of life-sustaining gifts, which alleviate their hunger and suffering. Again, this year we celebrate God's love with the angel tree. Each Sunday until the end of the year, for each donation, both in person and online, an angel will be placed on the tree, and we will celebrate these gifts of love. We can help those who are hungry and are suffering with each angel placed on the angel tree of God's love. Now, let us begin with Jesus' words, echoing throughout our very being. Truly, I tell you, just as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. Amen.